Hello and welcome to another episode which is intended for students of grade 12. In this lesson we're going to read the text and then answer comprehension questions, do summary making, and then we'll translate a paragraph from English into Arabic and then 2 sentences from Arabic into English. But first we'll take a short break, then we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back, dear students. In this lesson, we're going to read a text and then we'll answer comprehension questions. And later on, we will do summary making and then translation. We'll translate a short paragraph from English into Arabic and 2 sentences from Arabic into English. Okay, so let's start. Now, have a look at the following picture. This boy's name is Jacob Barnett. Okay, so this picture will provide you with some context clues later on when we read the passage. Okay, so, but before we read the passage, let's read the first question. Remember that we read questions first so that we have a purpose in mind when we go through the text. Okay, and question 1 reads, the best title for the passage is The Role of Professor Scott in Nurturing an Autistic Boy, The Unlucky Parents, Autistic Boy 12 develops his own theory of relativity, and autism. Okay? So one of these titles is suitable for the passage we're going to read. Try to find out which one. Now, here is the passage. Let's read it together. A 12-year-old child prodigy has astounded university professors after dealing with some of the most advanced concepts in mathematics. Jacob Barnett has an IQ of 170, higher than Albert Einstein, and is now so far advanced in his Indiana University studies that professors are lining him up for a PhD research role. The boy wonder, who taught himself calculus, algebra, geometry, and trigonometry in a week, is now tutoring fellow college classmates after hours. And now Jake has started his most ambitious project yet, his own expanded version of Einstein's theory of relativity. His mother, not sure if her child was talking nonsense or genius, sent a video of his theory to the renowned Institute for Advanced Study near Princeton University. Professor Scott Trimen, himself a world-renowned expert, wrote, "I'm impressed by his interest in physics and the amount that he has learned so far. The theory that he's working on involves several of the toughest problems in astrophysics and theoretical physics. Anyone who solves these will be in line for a Nobel Prize." But for his mother, Christine Barnett, 36, and the rest of the family, maths remain a tricky subject. Jake was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a mild form of autism, from an early age. His parents were worried when he didn't talk until the age of 2, suspecting he was educationally abnormal. It was only as he began to grow up that they realized just how special his gift was. He would fill up notepads of paper with drawings of complex geometrical shapes and calculations. By the age of 3, he was solving 5,000-piece puzzles and reciting every highway and license plate prefix from memory. By the age of 8, he had left high school and was attending Indiana University. His professor, John Ross, said his performance in lectures had been outstanding. When he asks a question, he is always 2 steps ahead of the lecture. Kids his age would normally have problems adding fractions, and he is helping out some of his fellow students. The next step, according to Professor Ross, is for Jake to leave class altogether and take up a paid research role. By Daily Mail, adapted the 24th March 2011. All right, so let's go back to answering questions. And the first type of questions is multiple choice. So from A, B, C, and D, choose the correct answer. And let's remind ourselves of the first question, what is the best title suitable for this passage? Here are the options: The Role of Professor Scott in Nurturing an Autistic Boy, The unlucky parents, autistic boy 12 develops his own theory of relativity, or autism. Now notice that the word autistic and autism is repeated many times in these titles, and autism is a mental disorder which interferes with the communication, with the ability to learn and use language in people. Okay, so what is the best title? Well, here is the text. Okay, from paragraph number 1, we have been told that we're going to talk about a 12-year-old child. And this child is a prodigy. And we have so many words related to the word prodigy, genius, or he's so skilled and gifted. We have words such as an IQ of 170. This boy has been compared to Albert Einstein. We have words such as advanced studies, and he taught himself. Okay? And we have the word or the phrase tutoring fellows. He's teaching classmates. Okay? In another paragraph, paragraph 2, we have this piece of information which is telling us that this boy is working on his own version of Einstein's theory of relativity. It is only on paragraph 3 that we have this new, shocking in a way, piece of information which says that he was diagnosed with autism. So let's combine all these pieces of information together, and we will come up with a title such as this: Autistic Boy 12 Develops His Own Theory of Relativity. So we matched all the pieces of information and we put them in just one title. Okay? And this is what titles are for. They draw the attention of the readers through shocking them, through many other techniques. And here it is in a way shocking for the reader when he reads an autistic boy who normally has a mental disorder and he has problems with communication. He's just 12 and he's working on theory of relativity. Okay? So this is wonderful. Now this is also so attracting to the reader. A reader who reads such a title would like to go through the passage, would like to read through and find out the story behind this boy. All right, so let's move to another question, question 2. This passage is taken from a magazine advert, a newspaper article, fictional novel, an imaginary novel, or a written script of a speech. So what do you think the correct answer is? Okay, have a look at the last paragraph. In paragraph 5, notice at the end we have such an information which says that it is written or it is adapted, it's taken from the tabloid newspaper called Daily Mail. Okay, so this text is taken from a newspaper article. Okay, so this is a very important technique which is called skimming through the passage. Now, skimming through the passage means reading the passage in its entirety, all of it, and paying attention to the way this text is laid out, the way it is organized, the different paragraphing, as well as the titles or any pictures or even the source from which this passage is taken. Okay, so newspaper article. Now, question 3. This year, Jacob celebrates his 12th birthday, his 15th birthday, his 36th birthday, or his 3rd birthday. So how could you come up with the answer to such question? Now, notice here that we are talking about a 12-year-old child. But don't rush rush into conclusions. Don't think that he is 12-year-old and you go back to the question and select the first option, because he is 12-year-old in 2011. And if you remember the question, it says now. It's talking about now. So now is 2014, which means this text is written 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, this boy was 12 years old, which means that now he is, come on, very easy, he's he's celebrating his 15th birthday. He is 15 years old. The underlined word astounded in paragraph 1 means, so what does this adjective mean? Does it mean horrified, astonished and surprised, or angry, and the last option, offended and humiliated? Okay, so what is the meaning of the adjective astounded, which is underlined in paragraph 1? Let's read the sentence. Okay, so pay your attention here. A 12-year-old child prodigy has astounded university professors after dealing with some of the most advanced concepts in mathematics. Now, to come up with the meaning of this word, you need to resort to context, to the context. You need to find some context clues, unless you already know the meaning from dictionaries or from previous experiences. Okay, so here we are talking about a 12-year-old child, and this 12-year-old child, this young boy, is dealing with the most advanced concepts in mathematics. He's dealing with very complex theories in mathematics. So this is going to have an effect upon the university professors. Okay, so what type of effect? They felt astonished and surprised. Okay, so this is how we come up to understand the meaning of words, even if these words are our first encounters. We meet them for the first time, or we read them for the first time in a passage. Okay, question 4. Jacob is considered a child prodigy because he is 12 years old, he's 12 years old and gifted, he's very gifted, or simply because he's good at maths. So who do we call a child prodigy? Right, so bearing this in mind, let's go through this passage. We have the word child prodigy, and it is linked later on. To avoid repetition, the writer used the word the boy wonder, and this gives us a clue to what is the meaning of prodigy. So it refers to a boy, someone who is very young, and also wonder, which means he is wonderful or he is excelling at a certain skill. So Jacob is considered a prodigy because he is both gifted and he is young. Okay? Here is an excerpt. Here is a snapshot from a dictionary entry. So the word prodigy by definition means a young person who has a great natural ability in a subject or skill. So another word for prodigy is genius, but genius is a general term. It could refer to someone who is old or someone who is young. Prodigy is a specific word for people who are gifted at a young age. For example, Mozart was a musical prodigy. He could play musical instrument and write music at the age of 3 years old, right? Now here is the next question. The underlined word him in paragraph 1 refers to university professors, an IQ of 170, Albert Einstein, or Jacob Barnett. Now let's go and find this word in its context. Here is a reminder of the question, by the way. So the underlined word him in paragraph 1 refers to, here is the word him. Okay? And the first option given is university professors. Now it is good practice that you read the sentence in which the word we are trying to find its referent. Okay, so we read the sentence. Jacob Barnett has an IQ of 170, higher than Albert Einstein, and is now so far advanced in his Indiana University studies that professors are lining him up for a PhD research role. Now, does him here refer to university professors? The word university professors occurred twice. The first one is far beyond the scope of our sentence, but it becomes an interesting word because later on it is mentioned again, and there is a proximity between this word and the word him. But notice that the word professors is a plural noun. Him refers to a person, but it is in the singular form. So the word professors is not a correct option. We move to the second option, which is an IQ of 170. Okay, here it is, an IQ of 170. Could this be what we're looking for? Could him stand for an IQ of 170? No, it couldn't be, because an IQ, it is a test for intelligence, is an object, and we refer to it by using the pronoun it or it. So this is not correct. The third one is Albert Einstein. Okay? Now notice that the word Albert Einstein occurred in a sentence which is an apposition. An apposition means a sentence that gives extra information, that is there to clarify. Okay, so the third option is Albert Einstein. And this word is not the correct answer because it occurred in an extra information. The main subject here is Jacob Barnett, and that is the word that the word him refers to. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Jacob Barnett is the word that referred to by the pronoun him. Now, Jacob's field of study is philosophy, history, mathematics, or geography. Okay, have a look at this paragraph. It says here he is trying to do or to deal with complex ideas in mathematics. And mathematics, he taught himself calculus, algebra, geometry, and trigonometry. Okay, so his subject of study is mathematics. Now, Albert Einstein's IQ is the highest intelligence score, lower than Jacob's, as high as Jacob's, or higher than Jacob's. Okay, so we don't need to go back to the text to justify our answer, because sometimes the information gets stuck to the mind, and the answer is lower. Albert Einstein's IQ is lower than Jacob's. Now let's answer these questions. What's Jacob's most aspiring project? Okay, here is the paragraph, and focus on this part. What's his most aspiring project? Well, the answer is Jacob's most aspiring project is he's working on developing his own expanded version of Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay, so this is the answer. Question 2. Why did Jacob's mother send a video to the Institute for Advanced Study? Well, read this part. The answer is here. Because she was not sure if her child was talking nonsense or he was a genius. Okay? So she wanted to know whether her child was talking nonsense or he was a genius. How long did it take Jacob to learn maths? Well, focus here. It says in a week. So the answer is he learned mathematics in just 1 week. What made Jacob's parents anxious and worried? Okay, try to find the answer in this first part of the paragraph. Okay, this is the answer. So what made Jacob's parents anxious? Their son didn't talk until the age of 2. Remember, he is autistic. They thought their son was educationally abnormal. If we want to paraphrase this sentence, we can say that they thought their son couldn't learn. Now, what sets Jacob apart from other kids at school? Well, here's the answer. Kids his age would normally have problems adding fractions, but for Jacob, he is helping some of his fellow colleagues or his fellow students. Now, summary making. In not less than 4 sentences, sum up paragraph 4 showing the early signs of Jacob's outstanding talent. So here is the paragraph. It's paragraph 4, and we're going to find instances or examples of or that show his outstanding talent. So notice here, he's able to draw complex geometrical shapes. He's able to do complex calculations. He's able to solve 5,000-piece puzzles, and also he's able to recite every highway and license plate prefix from memory. Right, so here is the answer. Jacob drew complex shapes, did complex calculations, solved 5,000-piece puzzles, and recited highway and license plate prefixes from memory. Now let's move on to translation. We're going to translate the following paragraph into Arabic. Okay? So let's read it together. His professor John Ross said his performance in lectures had been outstanding. When he asks a question, he is always 2 steps ahead of the lecture. Kids his age would normally have problems adding fractions, and he is helping out some of his fellow students. The next step, according to Professor Ross, is for Jake to leave class altogether and take up a paid research role. Now let's take the first sentence and try to translate it. Now, remember that when we translate, we are seeking the meaning, the message behind this sentence. We're not after word-for-word translation. And I did something which most of my students do from time to time, is that they resort to online translating services or tools. And here is what the answer is. The answer to this question is والبروفيسور جون روس قال له وأداؤه في المحاضرات كانت المعلقة. Now this is what happened when you try to translate word for word. At best, your translation will be awkward. Okay? So the best way to translate sentences is by understanding the meaning of the whole sentence and then express it in your own way. So a good translation would read قال أستاذه الجامعي جون روس بأن أداءه أثناء المحاضرات كان مميزاً. Next sentence. When he asks a question, he is always 2 steps ahead of the lecture. عندما يطرح سؤالاً فإنه يكون دائماً سابقاً لوقته. Kids his age would normally have problems adding fractions, and he is helping out some of his fellow students. This could be translated as follows. فالأطفال في مثل سنه عادة ما يلاقون صعوبة في إضافة الأعداد العشرية في حين أنه هو يساعد بعض زملائه من الطلبة. We move on to the next sentence. The next step, according to Professor Ross, is for Jake to leave class altogether and take up a paid research role. Okay, let's read its translation. إن الخطوة التالية حسب الأستاذ روس هو أن يترك جاك الدراسة كلياً ليقوم بأبحاث علمية مدفوعة التكاليف. Dear students, now we're going to move to the last part of this episode, which is translating 2 sentences from Arabic into English. Okay, so here is the first sentence. رائد: ينوي نادي المغامرات الكويتي القيام برحلة شاقة مليئة بالتحديات لتسلق قمة جبل إيفرست، وذلك برفقة كافة أعضاء فريق متسلقي الجبال المحترفين. حمد: إنهم يبحثون عن أشخاص متحمسين لديهم عزيمة قوية لمساعدتهم. So let's find a translation for the first sentence. Ra'id says, the Kuwaiti Adventure Club, along with its team of experienced mountaineers, is planning a challenging and arduous expedition to the summit of Mount Everest. Now, the second sentence, Hamad, they are looking for motivated, strong-willed individuals to assist them. Dear students, thank you very much for your time and attention. Today we read a text, a passage, and we answered reading comprehension questions. We did summary making and translation. So till we meet another time, thank you for your attention, and from me, all the best.